Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to be comparing Madden 22 on the Xbox One and PS4 to Madden 22 on the PS5 and Xbox Series X so that you can see the differences between the player likeness, the presentation, and some of the gameplay things as well. Now, if this is your first time checking out my channel and you want to stay up to date on all of the latest Madden news, make sure to subscribe, turn the bell icon on. So first, we're going to look at pre-game presentation. On the left, you're going to see Madden 22 on the PS4 and Xbox One. On the right, you're going to see it on the PS5 and Xbox Series X. Now, yesterday we did a Madden 21 versus 22 comparison, which I will link below in the comments if you didn't see that one. But you'll notice yesterday, if you saw that video, we talked about how the pregame was different this year, but that is only on next gen. The older console versions of PS4 and Xbox One still have the same pregame presentation as last year, so that has gone unchanged. And you'll notice with some of the presentation things that stays true because of the fact that the dynamic game day changes are only for the new consoles, and I guess that the pregame is considered in that as well, although they definitely could have updated the pregame in this if they really wanted to, but they didn't. Now we're going to just full out Madden 22 on the new consoles here because the pregame presentation for the new consoles is a little bit longer than for the old consoles. They do a little bit more stuff, more players warming up on field, they have more cutscenes, they have more with the intros. They also will show the player comparison stats with next gen stats as well. So if you're on the older consoles, you're getting the same pregame presentation as last year. On the new consoles, you get a refreshed version of this. Now we're going to look at the Super Bowl celebration. On the left is Madden 22 on the old consoles. On the right is Madden 22 for the new consoles. And they actually did not update this on the old consoles, which shocked me because it was such a big talking point last year about how it had been the same for 5 years. They said they were updating it this year. They very clearly did update it for the new consoles, but I thought they would definitely update this one across the board for both generations just because it was such a thing that people complained about last year, but they didn't. They only updated it on the new consoles, which to me really doesn't make any sense that they would do this. Like when we're talking about features for both consoles, yes, they put most of the features across the board for both. Franchise mode, the yard, ultimate team, face of the franchise, right? Like all of the actual modes and features within those modes for the game are for the most part the same on both generations, which I do think is good, with the exception of like the momentum and the home field advantage. Everything else is the same, but presentation, they showed a lot more love to the new consoles. Now we're going to look at the player likeness face scan. So on the left, you've got the old consoles. On the right, you've got the new ones. The main thing you're going to notice is the hair looks way better on the newer consoles. It actually looks like real hair, whereas on current gen, it kind of looks like, you know, the Madden hair that's fake. So I want to show you here. On the left, you've got 22 current gen. On the right, you've got 22 next gen. See the difference? But now on the right, we're changing it to 21 current gen. And you can see that the player models were updated. They just don't look as good as next gen. Again, you've got current gen versus next gen this year, and then we're going to switch to current gen on the left of this year versus 21 current gen last year on the right. So I just wanted to put that in there because in yesterday's video, people were asking, did they update the likeness on the old consoles or only on the new ones? They did update the likeness for all of the players. It just doesn't look as good on the old consoles as the new ones, but they did change the hair, they changed the faces, they changed what they needed to change on both generations of console, which is a good thing. I'm glad that they didn't just stick to the new consoles for that, because it seems like when it comes to presentation and game day stuff, they did only stick to the new consoles, but at least not every single thing was just completely like just ported over and they called it a day. They did make some changes here in terms of likeness. Here's a good one with Mahomes. You can see on the right how much more realistic his hair looks on the new consoles, and now here you've got old console this year versus last year, and you can see he pretty much kind of looks the same. So that was like one of the more drastic differences that I wanted to show you, that he looks pretty much the same from last year on the old ones, but on the new consoles you could see where he kind of got that visual upgrade. And then last, we have Derwin James here just showing you the different examples so that you kind of understand what the visuals look like. Now we're going to look at movement. So on the left, you've got the old consoles. On the right, you've got the new ones, and if you've played, you kind of already know what the difference is. The old consoles are much faster. You can stop on a dime. You can change direction at top speed. On the right, you get a little bit more of a realistic movement. It's slower. You have to kind of plant. You have to turn slowly. You can't move as fast. Some people like like it, some people don't. Here we're just going to show another example here. Watch how easy it is on the left to turn. Look how easy he's just turning at top speed, whereas on the right he literally has to stop and plant his foot. Now we're going to show again a little bit slower motion. On the left he's moving at top speed and changing direction. On the right he's taking a lot longer to change those directions. Now we're going to show some more clips here. So this is the old gen right here, and you can see how you can stop and go. Stop on a dime and immediately burst up to top speed. You can't do that on the new consoles. Let me show you what happens when you do that on the new ones. You try to pull back on the joystick to stop and go, your player will actually move backwards because you're moving the joystick backwards. Now you can completely stop and start going again, but you can see how it takes longer to get up to top speed. He actually has to plant and accelerate, so it's a little bit more realistic. Here you're going to see, again, see how on the left it's so easy to just stop and go. On the right he can completely stop, but he has to start going again. He doesn't just immediately boost forward. So I think a lot of people like that change. Here you're going to see just the juking animations, the ball carrier moves, the spins. They don't really look much different. It's more of a feel thing. They feel slower on next gen, but they don't really look a whole lot different. Here we're going to show some throwing here from Tom Brady just so you can see the throwing animations. There's really no big differences here. In my opinion, the main difference is in the route running, which I'll show you in a second. But you can see how Mike Evans, you see how he gets in this frame much quicker on the right side than the left side? That's because with the next gen route data, they actually round the routes out and they don't run them robotically. So they actually run the routes faster, and you can see that in the clips here. And here I'm going to show you, this is a post route. Notice on the left how he plants and has to kind of run at a diagonal, whereas on the right he kind of just like drifts to the middle, because that's typically in real life how a lot of players run their actual post routes. Now here we're on the new consoles to show you the momentum and the home field advantage. You can see in the bottom right hand corner you have the different momentum advantages and the home field advantage, and I'm going to show you a clip here. So we're going to take a sack on this play in a second, and you'll notice that the momentum is going to swing slightly to the Browns' favor because they just made a big play. They sacked me. Now on this play here, we're going to go ahead and throw for a first down, and you're going to notice the momentum move back for the Steelers. This is an exclusive feature to the new consoles. Here we are on the older consoles for 22, and you can see there's no momentum bar, there's no home field advantage. It's just kind of the same as last year in that regard. Now we're taking a look at the sidelines. This is the older consoles right here. It's still fake players on the sidelines. They just have the numbers on, but there's no player likeness. There's no names on the jerseys. This has been unchanged for a long time. Now we're looking at the newer consoles. They changed it last year, but I'm just showing the comparison this year where you see they actually have player models on the sideline. They still have some fake players too, but everybody does have the name on their jersey now. But you can see like Odell Baker, Jarvis Landry, you actually have some real player likeness of the big names on the sidelines now. Here we're going to show the crowd, which from this glance, it really isn't much of a difference. This is the older consoles right here, as you're seeing. Nothing too crazy, nothing that's really that different. The only main difference here that I would point out for the new consoles is you could see him actually like waving the terrible towel and things like that. The only other main difference for the new consoles is that you do get the actual up close shots of the crowd, and you see this happen throughout the game, and you see the new super fans that they've put in each stadium. So that is a change that's exclusive to the new consoles. Now we're going to take a look at the weather side by side. So on the left is the old consoles, on the right is the new consoles. Don't really notice much of a difference here. The main thing with weather, especially for rain, is you see it hit the ground and kind of make little effects. You also see it get wet on the jerseys now and beat up on the helmets. That's really the main difference with the weather. It doesn't actually really look much different on field though. The same with the snow. It pretty much looks the exact same to me. You just notice that the jerseys and helmets actually get wet now. And lastly, we're going to look at franchise mode, because I know a lot of people are still kind of skeptical. Hey, are all the changes there? It's the exact same franchise mode for the old consoles and the new ones. It's the same hub. It's the exact same features across the board. Everything that the new consoles got here, the old consoles got, which I think was definitely the right move, because if you would have just kept this exclusive to just the new consoles, that, I mean, you already kept enough stuff exclusive to the new ones. This would have really made it bad. But even the game planning stuff, which I thought might be slightly different because of the integration of next gen stats, but to me it looks pretty much about the same across the board. So that's mainly the main thing. If you want to see a complete comparison of the feature list below, I'll drop that video below as well. But most of the features are the same on both consoles. It's just that the new ones are going to have a little bit better graphics, a little bit more with presentation stuff, and it has the home field advantage and momentum. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys next time.